I did not think that there's any way that I could be pregnant. So before I go and get my son right now, I'm just gonna tell you guys a quick little story about this pregnancy and how I kind of found out. But long story short, we took my birth control out, which was the Mirena IUD, probably about 2 to 2.5 months ago. And they warn you that you can get pregnant super quick when you take a Mirena IUD out. But I had a lot of bleeding at first. Obviously, when you take your birth control out, like the lining of your uterus and everything has to form back. But it was so bad that I literally went to urgent care one time because I'm like, this can't be normal. So of course at urgent care, they say everything is normal, everything is fine. If it's lasting longer than like pretty much a month is what they said, then come back. So I was like, okay, whatever. So it ended, and then I went on about my days, and I thought I had a period, which I'm assuming is still a period, which is what the apps are going off of for giving us, 5 weeks and a day pregnant. But a lot of my friends now are kind of like, well, maybe that was implantation bleeding, because it was really light, especially for having only had maybe one period since taking my Mirena out. But pretty much, my mother-in-law is moving in with us until she finds a house here. And she had told us that she was gonna be here 2 days before we had anticipated. And so the day before, we had planned that somebody was going to come and clean our house. But since she was gonna be here earlier, I decided to just take matters into my own hands. And I was deep cleaning the entire house. It took me literally all day, but in the midst of that, downstairs in like the main bathroom that everybody uses was one more pregnancy test. And so my mind was just, let's just take it, just because I'm about to start my period in like 2 days, so it would come out positive, because it did for our first son. And I was like, then we can just throw it away and call it good. So I ended up taking this test, and I actually had forgotten about it. So like maybe 10 minutes went by, and I was sweeping next to the door of that bathroom, and I was like, oh shit, let me go and check this really quick. And I literally turned this thing over thinking there's no way, and all of a sudden there were 2 lines. So I wasn't like freaking out, but I was definitely like, how? Like how? So I'm like, babe, you need to come here like right now. And sure enough, he was like, okay, well, since you waited a little bit longer, let's just order some that actually say like pregnant or not pregnant on it. And so we did, and I took both of them, and they both came back saying pregnant. Sorry, my dog's in the backseat right now, and our neighbor's just pulled up, so she's growling and barking. But the tricky thing here was I also was gonna have to take a pregnancy test regardless, because Dylan's work, he works at Sparks Toyota. Dylan's work was having a Christmas ball, and so I knew that there was gonna be drinking involved. So the fact that I knew that my period was supposed to start that week, it was either I was gonna get my period and we would be just fine, or I'm not gonna get my period and we're gonna know regardless right before this ball if I'm gonna be drinking or not. Sure enough, no, I was not drinking. It was still a lot of fun, but no, I was not drinking. So really quick, going back, a lot of the people that I work with, they were pretty much saying that I was having symptoms right before the period that I had, because I was peeing a lot, I was hungry, I was kind of nauseous. But since I had this period, we all kind of thought, like, it was 4 days, but it wasn't like period like, if that makes sense. But I still considered it to be one, because I'm like, okay, well, obviously my periods are just weird right now since we just took it out. But a lot of people that I work with are assuming that I'm further along than I think, but my mom intuition is telling me that I'm only like 5 weeks pregnant. So that's all I'm gonna say. But that's the quick little story about how we kind of found out. It was kind of a surprise. Like, we weren't trying, but we weren't preventing, but we definitely didn't think that it would happen this quick. So it is kind of a little fun story. But as of right now, I'm feeling a lot better. I'm not as exhausted, but I am starting to pee a lot more again. And that was actually the very first symptom with our first son, which I feel like I'm not peeing as much this time around. But again, every pregnancy is different, and this is just proof. But yeah, I love you guys. Bye.